All right, we're going to go into all of this. We have so much to cover today. I have to calm myself down. All right, we're going to start with the third chakra and work our way up. And I have honey on my finger. How did that happen? Okay. Do you talk to yourselves? Yes. Do you know who Jean Houston is? Jean Houston is one of the most hilarious, dynamic, incredible people ever in the universe. And flamboyant. And when she teaches, the world fills with Jean Houston. And Jean is capable of telling a story with what we might think of as a touch of embellishment. And I said to her, sometimes I think you exaggerate. And she says, oh, I exaggerate even when I'm alone. Okay. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, she's brilliant. All right. Your third power center, I'm going to remind you, center over grace, that as you go up in the world, your focus is going to shift, and it is automatic. You are programmed for this. When we enter the world, we're programmed to look at power as coming toward us. As coming toward us. All the power out there. And we don't have any power in here. So the journey of life for every single human being is to reverse that. So that we get that power is actually inside going out. So that you get that you don't have any power unless I give it to you. This was the great conversation between Jesus and Pilate. When Pilate says, say something because I can let you off the hook. And he says, no, you can't. I already made the agreement and this thing's all set up. So this whole gig is all worked out, and you work for me. I'm editing. And Pilate says, get him out of here. Because he saw what power he had. Do you remember this scene in the scripture? Do you want me to play it out the way it's actually written? But I prefer my version. But it's when, Jesus is taken from the Garden of Gethsemane. And I don't know who was recording notes because I don't remember it, although Matthew was a pretty incredible note taker. But Jesus said, take this cup from me. I really don't want to do this. This is just garbage, But he doesn't hear anything. And this is really important to understand, especially when it comes to all the mystical truths that he represented. And he doesn't hear anything. And this too is archetypal, because when we get to guidance and prayer later today and tomorrow, prayer and how you talk to heaven is so misunderstood that silence and hearing nothing is a response. Heaven doesn't waste guidance. It's so precious. And yet you are always guided, and that is a paradoxical divine mystery. And when you don't hear anything, it means you're already on your route. There's nothing to say. You don't look at a map when you know where you're going, do you? Okay? You don't look at a map. So Jesus says, do I have to do this? Take this cup from me. And he doesn't hear anything, which means, it's the way it's going to be. So he goes on with the task. And, of course, his ever difficult Peter takes a sword. He gets arrested. And Peter grabs a sword and he cuts off the ear of one of the centurions. And then Jesus takes the ear and heals the man. But what's so fascinating is the apostles disperse. So what he lives out for us, and this is where the template is, the life of Jesus is not meant to be wasted. And I'm telling you this at this point Because the great challenge of every human being is to go from our love of power in the physical world, thinking that stuff in the physical world is our safety net, to transitioning and realizing there is no safety in money. There is no safety in status. There is no safety in anything in the physical world, because like Buddha was, everything changes. Buddha would tell you things in the physical world change in the blink of an eye. You think you have it, and then the market crashes. You think this, you think that, and then there's bombs that hit. You think you have the perfect marriage, and then it's over. You think that everything, like Buddha tells you, everything changes in the blink of an eye. You think you're healthy, and then there's a car accident. The physical world changes in the blink of an eye. Buddha says that there isn't one thing you can have, not one place you can live, not one thing you can do. There isn't one thing in this lower world that you can buy, have, say, do. Not one person can protect you from any form of change in the physical world. You got that? And yet, what I want you to pay attention to is how much of yourself you will negotiate thinking that you've accomplished that. That somehow you've accomplished what no human being can accomplish, which is to lock something down in the physical world so that you'll never lose your job. Maybe they will, but you won't. Maybe they'll get sick, but you won't. I won't have to wear a mask because I'm immune by politics, by my rage and my righteousness from a virus. The stupidity, people. But nothing makes you immune, your attitude, nothing. Because all life breathes together. All life breathes together. So at some point, when you have these great mystical teachers who say, you got it wrong, and this is the way it is. The way it is that it's the power you cannot see that has all the power. Everything that keeps you well is everything you cannot see. Love, compassion, courage, endurance, everything you value the most, trust, faith, all the graces, everything you value the most, creativity, inspiration, are things you cannot see. And if those were taken away from you, you would die. You would disintegrate. You would evaporate into depression, and you wouldn't be able to be revived. Because these are the life force, and these are the substance of the life force. This is what keeps you alive. Not your stuff, but your soul. The greatest thing God gave me was the skill of being a medical intuitive, because it taught me everything, because it taught me how we are wired. Never mind how the skill works, I don't care about that. It's what I gained by doing readings on us. It taught me how we work and how powerful the soul is. For all my studies in theology, and believe you me, they're extensive, nothing compared to doing the power of one reading on one of you. Nothing. You are a theological wonder, because you taught me how powerful every choice we make, and what is the source of that power. I had to ask myself again and again, what is the source of this power we have? How is it that one choice a human being makes is so incredibly powerful and can drain somebody of their psychic field? Again and again I saw this. Or how is it that one choice you make can reverse your power and suddenly empower you? I would tell people, I'll still tell them this, that getting your power, what you call getting your power back, if you had your power, you wouldn't lose it. If you actually had your power, real power. But the stages of beginning to empower yourself, you're going to start small. You have to start small because you're terrified of coming up. You're terrified of the power of your own consciousness. You're terrified of it because what it actually is you're increasing the throttle on the speed at which you comprehend things. Now put your hands up if I'm going too fast. You are increasing the speed, your relationship to light, to love, and to law. And this is the nature of God. Every time you do something that empowers yourself, you increase your capacity to comprehend, to see more clearly how life works, which means you are increasing your capacity to see the soul of another person, not their actions, not their package, but their soul, which means you increase your capacity to love that person, which means you increase your capacity to make choices from not schmaltz love, but the kind of love that is the nature of God, that is the nature of, I can shift the matter, M-A-T-T-E, the energy field. I have the kind of love that is pure God. That by you have that potential in you. That's the power of love, not the power of, oh, I'm going to just give you a nickel. But recognizing I'm a channel of something so profound. And it's not me, it is the substance of life and love itself. This bridge, this little line, represents what I realize. My big question, I wrote a book on it, Why People Don't Heal. Today I could write volumes. I think to myself, why do people sabotage their own empowerment? What the heck is wrong with people? Why would people sabotage their own capacity to become all they could be? Why do people do that? When given a chance, your intuition tells you all the time what to do. Exercise. Don't eat this. What are you doing? You don't get that is organic divinity. That is your guide speaking to you at a level, here, come over here, that you are able to hear or feel without saying, oh my God, I think I'm hearing guidance. And it's telling me not to have so much sugar. You're not ready for direct guidance. It's coming in organically. It's coming in through your tummy. Here. It's coming in through your tummy because you're not ready for the conscious high voltage stuff. You're not even listening to sugar guidance. Okay? You're not even listening to food. How many of you are there? Talk to me. Okay. I want you to translate what this means so you get it. If you sabotage even food guidance because you don't want to be that conscious of your nutrition. You don't want to be that conscious of it. I don't want to take charge of it. I still want to. And here's the truth. Give myself license to eat whatever I want when I'm feeling bad. So here we go. I still want to reward myself for suffering. Here's the operative phrase. I want to reward myself for suffering, which means I will choose to suffer over heal. Hello? Okay. And why do you want to suffer over heal? You're going to answer that question. Put it down. Why do you want to? You're not going to answer it to me. You have to answer it to yourself. Because I'm not the one who lives in your body. But why do you choose to suffer over heal? When you see that it is a choice. And when I said to you yesterday that suffering is a choice, pain is not. Pain is the nature of life. You'll have to excuse me. I need eye drops because my eyes are drying and I'm having a little, you don't mind, would you excuse me for 1 second? Just pardon me. But, oh man. No. It's not painful. It's irritating. I find my eyelids just a little, and you get blurry because of it, and I can't have that. I got to be on my game. Okay, so and what happens when you choose to suffer is that you will pass it on to others. And you will pass it on to others. You'll figure out a way to share your suffering as if it's a gift. And the other thing about that is you will feel like it's okay. It gives you license to tell people about your suffering past and how wounded you are. Oh my God, you're so wounded. And it gives you permission to do things, to spend more money than you should, to eat more than you should. This is this blockage right here. Operative word blockage, colon blockage, bioenergy blockage, self-esteem blockage, power blockage, and it turns you into an addict. You will be an addict of some sort. You have no option. You're choosing addictions. Oftentimes it makes you the archetype of the procrastinator. How many of you? Oh, I bless you all for your honesty. I could just hug you. I could just hug you for your honesty. But I want to share with you with so much love, and you should just be bursting with love and appreciation to know how this is so universal. That you are not, that there's nothing unique about you. That this is the archetypal journey. And for those of you who didn't put up your hands, put up your hands. This is the archetypal journey. Nobody escapes this journey. So it's just a matter of where you are. This is the journey of empowerment and how we struggle with it. And what I need to emphasize, and I hope I'm doing this, oh please God, give me the words, that when we are disempowered, when we choose to sabotage ourselves, when we choose to and another word to do it is we're liquidating our power. When we choose to stay in a wound, when we choose, no, I'm not going to listen to my guidance that says, get off your ass and start walking. Stop eating so much sugar. Start becoming conscious that the guidance system is up and running and talking to you. Here's a mystical law. The law of balance is operating. You're out of balance. Let's go. When you sabotage that, then the way the organic system works, and this is something I have to emphasize, the nature of God is law, which means the nature of God is impersonal. There's nothing personal about gravity. You jump, you fall. And if you said at the bottom of the mountain, Why did God do this to me? I jumped and I didn't fly. I should have been the exception to that and float down. This is your night. This is your stupidity or not, or your arrogance. No. Everybody who jumps falls. Agreed? Agreed. You are not special and you won't be floating down. In that same way, what you have to understand is the way the laws work, cause and effect, action and reaction, magnetic attraction, the law of sensing, the law of integration, the law of energy into matter, the law of choice and consequence, all the laws, is that if we liquidate our power, we invite into our dynamic of creation the energy of everything else. All the psychic free radicals floating in the universe are game to participate in what we're creating because we've liquidated ourselves. I'm going to say it again. Give me a metaphor. Very good. All right. You're training to be a fine chef. In order to be a fine chef with your life, you have to learn what every ingredient creates in everything you cook. Is that agreed? So you have to understand that a little paprika in a choice is going to start a fire. Agreed? You have to understand how much salt and pepper to use in your thinking. How much salt and pepper does this thought need? Maybe this thought could use a little cumin. Maybe this thought needs a little celery salt. You become this perfectionist in how you make decisions, of how long a thought form needs to stew before you act on it. You become really good at saying, I have to put this thought in a crock pot. It needs hours to incubate before, and I can't open it. I can't let any other thought form, any other seasoning in here because it needs reflection. So you start thinking of yourself in this precious way a chef protects a kitchen. Someone who doesn't understand how precious that is. You get careless. You get careless. You get angry. You get careless. You get sloppy. You start saying, I don't give a damn what seasoning I'm using. You start cooking in a sloppy way. You go from chefing to just grabbing anything. You decide, I'm just going to get this packaged seasoning, which is put together by 1,000 other people. So you have 1,000 other people's thoughts in this package, and you throw that in your stew. And you got to put that in your consciousness. Because you didn't take the time. You weren't conscious enough to choose each of the herbs in your garden that maybe you have grown. And you know exactly how fresh the basil is. You know exactly how fresh the rosemary is. No, you didn't care anymore because you are getting into other thoughts that liquidate you. You've distributed your energy to issues that don't matter. You're angry at someone. You're still dealing with your past that is now 40 years old. 40, Jesus, Mother of God, years old. There's yellow edges around these stories you're telling. Oh my God, are you telling this again? All right, I'm listening. And what happens is you are literally hemorrhaging so that when it comes time to do something conscious, you haven't got the juice. You haven't got the juice because you weren't, and all this time your guides are telling you, will you stop with this? You keep telling the same damn story, and Nobody cares. Look at your friends. They're bored. Your angel's telling you that. Can you see them? They're sleeping. Stop it. Stop it. Either resolve, make a different choice, make a higher choice, see it differently. I'll get you up there, but stop it. I'm not telling you to forget your story. I'm telling you to get a higher perspective. Stop it. What the hell are you expecting by telling this story? Who are you punishing? What are you doing? Oh, I get it. You're giving yourself an excuse to sabotage yourself. You want to drink. You want to eat. You want to do whatever you want. You want to feel sorry for yourself. You want to be dependent. Okay, that's what you get at this floor. You don't want to go up here. You don't want to cross over and empower yourself. You still want to punish people. This is a difficult bridge to get over. Becoming conscious, because you have to forego a whole behavioral system that you've gotten into. Are you with me here? Wounds are powerful stuff. And being weak is very powerful because, and this is a tough sentence to say, but it's the truth. It gives you permission to form an alliedship with the dark, with your shadow. It gives you permission to form an alliedship with your shadow. And to excuse that alliedship, to deny that that's what you're doing. For example, it gives you permission to pass on your suffering to other people. You don't know what I've been through. And to beat up other people. And then they end up apologizing to you. I'm so sorry I said anything. Now my version is, don't you dare take out your stuff on me. I don't take out my stuff on you. And that's the way this works. Which is exactly how people should respond. I was not in your childhood. And I'm not paying the piper for it. And you are not paying the piper for my childhood. Do we agree? Yes. That's how life is. I like the adult in you. I'm not interested in the child. Does that sound harsh? Because it is, what is, you think it's harsh? Talk to me. No, feedback. Is it harsh? Is it true? Is it the child in you that has gotten you into the worst situations? Okay. Is it the child in you that has destroyed most of your adult relationships? Is it the child in you that has gotten you fired? Yes, no? All right, this is very important to understand the archetype. Is the wounded child the part of you that gives you permission to be depressed and to feel sorry for yourself? Okay. Yes. Wait. We got, sounds like, oh, Carolyn, you are just such a monster.
Not at all. I vacillate between wounded child and a saboteur. I don't know who's is in
Oh, they
charge.
love each other.
Oh, okay. They're closely related.
Here's the thing. Here's how the saboteur operates. And here's how heaven operates. I absolutely adore. I am never not in awe at the handiwork of heaven. Because it is the absolute mystical truth that heaven never sabotages any human being. That everything about the way life is set up for you is to empower you. All the laws, everything, and you have to, first of all, understand that. First of all, understand that. That even under the worst of circumstances, there's something going on that is actually totally benefiting. We here on the first floor have decided that the way we measure life is by pain and pleasure. Is by whether or not it costs us something. By the size of the physical debt. So the scale by which we measure things is this limited physical scale. We don't have a cosmic, we don't have a penthouse view where we look down and say, what really is going on here? I remember how many times the nuns would say, like something would happen and something doesn't work out. And the beloved nuns, I am someone who loved my education with the nuns. I'm not a scarred Catholic. I adore the girls. They're still close. I'm still close to them. And they always said, Carol, rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. And I would say, oh, I like how this wisdom dribbles in, because what we do on the first floor is we look out and we only see what happens today. And we only see the people in front of us today. And what's more, and this is what consciousness is about, and archetypes and getting to the high altitude. And my God, if I could take you in the darkest of your moments and drag you up, I would sit with you and say, okay, I want you to calm down. And now then, let us look at this situation from the highest altitude, from the highest altitude that we can get, the very highest. And from the highest altitude, way up here in 8, 9, and 10, it's no longer even personal. It's not even personal. It's just an experience. And it's not even, we have to even unplug our sense of time. And we unplug our sense of how important you think this is. So we have to devalue it. Oh my God, it's so important. Is it? Important to what? This life, this moment, this year, this breath you take? Against what scale is something important? So we have to take apart the scale that you're using. Against the scale of this huge universe. How important is it? What is it going to change against the scale of your whole life and lives yet to come? I have done readings, not many, where I'm trying to, or I wish I could transfer what it feels like to do a reading, but where I'm trying to figure out where the loss of power in you is coming from. And in a reading for me is very rapid, very fast. There's nothing personal. There's nothing personal. That's how I know it's accurate. There's nothing personal. And it's like, if I said to you right now, think of your bedroom, now think of your living room, now think of your kitchen, fast, 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 fast. Imagine that is coming into me. And the difference between how you're thinking of it and how I am is that I have no emotion. It's not my living room, it's not mine. So it just goes like this. But even when I tell you to think of something, you actually don't see it. It's like energetic pixels. You actually don't see anything. You are getting energetic pixels. You don't, if I said visualize something, you are imagining, you are in the world of imagination, but you don't actually see it, do you? Because you aren't engaging your eyes. You're engaging an inner vision that doesn't work with eyesight. It works with soul sight, pixel sight, energetic system. So you're actually not seeing anything, but you are getting something. So if I said, Picture the ocean. You can picture it, but you don't actually see it. And it's actually not an actual image. You are just creating something. So in a reading, it's like that type of energetic data. And I've learned to trust that energetic data. And it comes in the blink of an eye. Just that fast. that fast. And it's very impersonal. Okay, and that's what data is like in your 10th, your 9th, and your 8th energy systems. That's exactly what it's like for you. And the choices you make once that data shifts to your middle column is that you determine the speed at which you comprehend this light. You determine how you want to form that light into a language, how you want to language it, how you want to allow the speed of that light to come into the matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, of your physical life. Buddha enlightened all light, so it came in without obstacle. Without obstacle. Bodhisattva, without obstacle. What is obstacle? Obstacle is when you anchor yourself, and this is what I learned, is when we anchor ourselves into choices that are illusion. Choices based on here, go to the first floor, the time and space of our world. That we think this world we're living in is a fact, a reality, when we are passing through what we think is 2024. That's a made-up number. This world is billions of years old. That's a made-up number. Now, as I said, I've done a few readings where some of the pixels that have come in from people have told me that this is from what we call a future life, a life yet to be lived, and that what they're experiencing has to do with organizing something that is yet to come. Now, we hold this notion in our head that is one of the greatest delusions, and that's that this is all there is, and this life is all there is, and that it's really 2024 here, not in China. But so that the world is just 2024 years long, except if you're an idiot creationist. We can't even, I mean, it is astounding to me the things that we've accepted as factual that have no truth to them whatsoever. Nothing. It is a made-up universe, people. But what's not made up is our capacity to make things up. And that's what I'm talking to you about. And this is what Jesus was talking to you about. This is what Buddha was talking to you about, is that they realized, they knew it's all made up. That's what Buddha meant when he said, this place is just an illusion. That's what he meant. And so that's why the greatest thing you can do is decide, you know what? I'm going to focus my attention not on acquiring stuff and getting all worked up about controlling other people and all my wounds that happened in this place called the past, but rather on managing my soul so I don't hemorrhage ever again. So I don't hemorrhage. So that I actually manage it so that I stay in my consciousness. So that I stay in present time. And I live by the higher truths that there's a law of balance. And I choose to stay in balance. And I live my life so that I can sense when I make a choice that throws me off balance. I become conscious of the mystical laws because those are the laws that determine how my physical world is. Now, that's, are you with me here? So we're going to go through the laws. But this journey right here is the journey you're going to have to take with yourself, which is to determine whether or not you're strong enough to give up that part of you that participates in illusion. And the permission illusion gives you to abuse other people, to manipulate, to use your wounds. This is a lot of work for you. And all of us revisit this world again and again and again and again. And this is a world where you look at something like what E.G. Carroll just went through and getting 83 million on behalf of being violated, okay? And I think civil misconduct, sexual misconduct, do we say that's an illusion? That's not an illusion. She went through a violation. She went through a violation. And you have to stand up for your rights. You have to, but what I found so remarkable about that is that she was able to do that without compromising her power. No matter what was thrown at her, she didn't compromise her power. When you deal with the devil, you have to be very careful about how you deal with the devil. And that is true no matter what you do in your life, that when you are going near illusions and difficulties, you have to be very careful of how you deal with darkness. And I'm glad to talk to you about that, because darkness comes into all of our lives. But this brings me back, this is the reason why I am convinced, I'm totally convinced of it, that that all of us feel in some way compelled to develop our sense of self, our sense of self-esteem. Nobody made that a crash course in school for any of us, and yet every one of us somehow has gotten the message that developing our sense of self is critical to our well-being. Is that not true? And that developing our sense of self somehow is as important as an education, and that it's critical to our health. Do you guys need a break? Have I gone overboard? No. Okay. that developing our sense of self is critical to our sense of personal empowerment. What I learned as a medical intuitive is that developing your sense of self is vital to your health, is vital to your capacity. It's not just vital to your health. It's vital to this journey, because your capacity to develop your sense of self is part of your journey of becoming conscious and what conscious requires of you. And you have to go through this journey of developing. Self-esteem means that you esteem yourself, and that you get past, here you're walking across the bridge. One of the things you have to get past is the need to have other people approve of you. Because the need for the approval of the outside is the need to have other people validate what is going on in the world behind your eye. Now I'm going to be your angel. And I'm going to say to you, I'd like to give you some high-end guidance, some really special guidance, but you're not going to believe because you don't have enough faith in yourself. And you're going to go and run and ask them if you really heard my voice. So what good is this? You don't have enough faith in yourself or enough esteem to actually hear what I'm talking to you about. So I'm just going to sit here next to you and watch you suffer. Because you can't get out of this. Who's more important, your inner voice or all of these people? Who? And this is a dark truth about human beings. People do not want to see you win the race, and you don't want to see them win the race. All right? You want to talk about shadow? This is part of the human shadow. One of the great tests of crossing this bridge is getting to the place where you acknowledge in yourself, I do not want to empower other people, and I have to get over that. That is the greatest obstacle in the obstacle course of life, is your fear that if you empower others, they will have more than you. Put your hands up. Oh, just 3 of you. Put your hands up. That your fear that if you empower human beings in any way, compliments, money, creativity, recognizing here's an idea for you, you do it, you're better at this than me, in any way, shape, or form, that means they'll get more than you. They'll have more than you. They'll leave you in any way, shape, or form. Put your hands up. So, how many of you have never felt that way? So I'm going to do this again. How many of you struggle with empowering one other person? Okay, come on, get with it. All right, thank you. You're going to work on this. Don't bullshit me. It's not a good idea. It draws me to your door. And that's not going to be fun. Okay? And all right, how many of you struggle with forgiveness? And that's a way of not empowering another person. You won't let him go. Okay? How many of you feel like someone brings out the competition in you? This is all part of what it is to not want to empower somebody else. I got to win that race. I got to be better. I got to win it. Okay? This idea of they have that person, those people, those migrants, they have more power than me. This is what the big illusion is. Don't you get it? It's all a big illusion. In this lifetime, those people have the role of trying to come over the border. Next lifetime, it'll be you. Don't kid yourself. Don't you dare go feeling so safe in your little neighborhood. That's not how heaven works. But you have to say, oh, that's me next lifetime. What am I going to do to help them? I don't want that job. Okay? Shape up and know how the gods work. Karma's real. The law of karma. And further, understand how holism works. We are moving toward becoming one. It's like working with your micro-earth body. You have to work with what helps my body become one. All the guidance you hear is about becoming one. You will never hear guidance that says, hey, why don't you eat that rat poison? That's not how heaven works. It always directs you to become whole, to do the right thing, to empower someone else. That's how grace works. Okay, the saboteur. You thought I dropped the question, didn't you? I always look like I have, but I'm just on that kind of slow freight. We are terrified of our own empowerment because it means we can't use any of the tricks of the wounded trade. And so what we do is we decide, I'm not ready to be that conscious yet. Because if you look at your life, every single moment, every single conversation, and I want you to microchip yourself to get as tiny as every word you say. I want you to squeeze yourself into every word. I honestly want you to squeeze yourself into the power of every word you say. Just squeeze yourself into the power of a word. And say, why am I choosing this word? What word will I choose to say to this person? How will I choose to greet this person? What word shall I choose? Am I going to interrupt this person? One of the worst things people do is finish someone's sentences. Maybe I'll let them talk. How will I listen? What will I say? Should I be compassionate? Choose to empower them. Listen to what heaven is saying. Say this prayer. I love this prayer. God, grant me the grace of understanding. Not because the word understanding, you better understand me. Or what, right? Whereas if you ask for the grace, watch this. It's like, help me understand why you have put me with this person. What power of mine do you want me to share with them? How can I help their life? Turn yourself into a servant and a vessel of healing. With one prayer, you turn yourself into a vessel of healing. How powerful is that? How powerful is that? Don't let me sabotage my gifts. Don't let me sabotage. Just that silent prayer. It's just between you and God. Nobody knows what you're up to. That's the beauty of being invisible. Nobody knows what you're up to. And you can go around and empower the world and just go home and put your feet up and watch a movie. That's the beauty of watching your soul think, wow, this is not bad. Right? But what you deal with, and I'm telling all of you, because this is the universal journey. I'm not talking to one person, I'm talking to all of us. Every one of us has to go through this, I have to empower others. And how distasteful that is in some way to every person until you confront it. Are you with me? And it means whether or not you're not forgiving someone, because in not forgiving, you get to punish them. And the power of punishing. The power of making another person suffer. You have no idea what I've been through, all right? You have no idea. And still using that. So this obstacle course across, I remember, and I've told this story 1,000 million times, but it belongs right here, so I'll make it fast. You know the story of that beautiful model, right? She's that gorgeous model, and she's on a set for a shoot. And I remember, I'll never forget what she said. Our face is our fortune. And she said, and she was like 26. For a model that's getting older, can you possibly imagine? My God, I would have had 4 incarnations. But anyway, she said a younger model came on the set, somewhere like 17, 18, something, who was apparently stunningly gorgeous, but very insecure. There was a scout from Vogue or something looking for a model. And that's a big deal. Because amazingly, these models, these day-to-day models, they're not paid much, okay? But once you sort of get into the major league, but it's rare. I guess it's like actors. You're not paid much for a 2-bit part until you, but anyway. So she says this young girl comes up to her and says, do I look okay? Now, this woman was a student of mine, which means she's also interested in her inner development, which means her intuitive system is. So she knows, she reads this girl, she knows she's as insecure as a little bunny in a corner, bunny on a fox hunt. So she knows okay, now, people, come here. Wait, go away. You've got this building. This is you. What floor do you want to see something on? Right? What floor? From the first floor, she is jealous, competitive, frightened, and insecure. So she's going to hear this question like, I don't want the scout to see you. What can I do to sabotage you? But here's the crisis. Go back to the bridge of becoming conscious and realizing up here, come up here real fast, take your elevator. Up here, you now have the truth that everything is a setup. Everything is a setup. You might not want to accept that, but it's the truth. And every single thing is observed. Everything is observed. Everything is about how we use our power in an act of creation. That's all that's going on here. You get down here, you forget that. Because you're frightened and you think, I got to pay my bills. Get up here. Get up here. This is the world of miracles where things happen and this, at the speed of your soul. At the speed of your soul. And you finally think, all right, I'm going to trust the truth. I'm going to trust the truth that everything's about observing. And you're going to observe what my soul does and not my insecurities. And you've sent this soul to me because I can empower her in the moment. And that's the higher choice. And that would be the higher choice. That's the option. She could have said, you look beautiful. You're going to do just fine. Now, she didn't make that choice. So she'll never know how that choice would have paid off for both of them. Because in making the higher choice, you never suffer. You never suffer. You may not be rewarded in the moment, but you will never suffer. Okay? You don't have to be like a little child that says, where's my lollipop? Shut up. What you have to understand is I did exactly what the best thing. I empowered everything. I empowered the whole. But instead she went down and she did the lesser. And she said, hey, you look okay. She gutted her. And what's the consequence of that? She can't live with herself. Because here's her angel saying, all right, you went to heaven lets us make the choices we make, but we live with the consequences. Choice and consequence. Choice and consequence. This is a universe of laws. God is law. This isn't punishment. You reap what you sow. What does the scripture say? You reap what you sow. It's as simple as that. And so she says, I feel terrible. I still see her. Well, yeah. Absolutely. Because you should. So you won't do it again. And now you'll empower 10 young women to make up for this. The mathematics of resurrection. But you see how the universe works with us. It's really all about empowerment. So the thing we have to look at is where we struggle with empowerment, who we struggle, why we struggle, why we're so afraid to empower, even in how we see other people.